Bonjour et bienvenue à ma chaîne YouTube. Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to learn the imperative form in French. L'impératif en français. C'est parti! In general, the imperative form is used for several purposes. That is, to give order or command, or as in French, we say une commande, to make a request or une demande, and to give advice or suggestion, that is un conseil or une proposition. Now in French there are three groups of verbs, that is the ER verbs, the IR verbs and the RE verbs, and we are going to learn how to make the imperative form for each one of them. Let's start with the first group of verbs, that is the ER verbs. We have the example of the verb chanter, which is a regular ER verb. Chanter means to sing. Now, for the imperative form, we require three subject pronouns, that is tu, nous and vous. Tu is the informal you. Nous means we. And vous is the formal you or you all, that is in the plural form. We conjugate the verb chanter according to the subject pronouns. So we get tu chantes, nous chantons, vous chantez. Now, to make the imperative form, we remove the subject pronouns since we won't be requiring them. Then we remove the S in the tu form because the verb chanter is a regular ER verb. So, to make the imperative form for any regular ER verb, we remove the S in the tu form. And the third step is to add the exclamation mark. And voila, we have the imperative form for the verb chanter. Chante, which means sing, that is when addressing informally. Chantons, which means let us sing. And chanter, which also means sing, but it is used when addressing formally or to a group of people. So these steps that we just saw will be followed for making the imperative form for any regular ER verb, as long as it's not an exceptional verb. Apart from that, we have other examples of regular ER verbs like parler, which means to speak, and danser, which means to dance. So to make the imperative form for these two verbs, we will be following the same steps that we just saw. Moving on to the second group of verbs, that is the IR verbs. We have the verb choisir, which is a regular IR verb. Again, we have the same subject pronouns and we have conjugated the verb choisir according to the subject pronouns. So we have tu choisis, nous choisissons, vous choisissez. So we start by removing the subject pronouns, and the second step, which is also the final step, is to add an exclamation mark. We do not remove the S in the tu form because choisir is an IR verb. So the rule of removing the S in the tu form is only for the ER verbs, that is, for the regular ER verbs. So the imperative form for the verb choisir is choisi, which means choose, that is when addressing informally. Choisissons, which means let us choose, and choisissez, which also means choose, but it is used when addressing formally or to a group of people. So the same steps will be followed when making the imperative form for any regular IR verb, as long as it's not an exceptional verb. Apart from that, we have some other examples of regular IR verbs, that is finir, which means to finish, and réussir, which means to succeed. So to make the imperative form for these two verbs, we will be following the same steps that we just saw. And the third group of verbs, that is the RE verbs. We have the example of the verb mettre, which means to put. So now to make the imperative form for the verb mettre, which is a regular RE verb, we start by removing the subject pronouns. And the second step, which is also the final step, is to add the exclamation mark. So there you have it, the imperative form for the verb mettre. Mais, which means put when addressing informally. Mettons, which means let us put. And mettez, which also means put, but it is used when addressing formally or to a group of people. So the same steps will be followed when making the imperative form for any regular RE verb, as long as it does not fall under the list of exceptional verbs, which we will see later. Apart from that, we have other examples of regular RE verbs, that is permettre, which means to allow or to permit, and battre, which means to beat. So to make the imperative form for these two verbs, we will be following the same steps that we just saw. Thank you for watching et à bientôt.